Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone you deeply care about seems to be pulling away? Maybe they used to call you all the time or show excitement when you were around, but now things feel different. You're left wondering, what changed? How can I get them to miss me the way I miss them? Here's the truth. Many of us think the solution is to try harder, reach out more, show them you care, or even make grand gestures to prove your worth. But what if I told you that doing less could actually make them want you more? This isn't about playing manipulative games or becoming someone you're not. It's about understanding the natural dynamics of relationships and stepping into your own power. You don't need to beg for attention or chase someone to feel loved. When you create space and become the best version of yourself, something remarkable happens. They begin to notice your absence, appreciate your presence, and ultimately chase you. In this video, we're diving into the exact steps you need to take to make someone miss you so much that they can't help but reach out. We'll explore strategies rooted in timeless wisdom, including stoicism, and blend it with practical advice that you can use starting today. Are you ready to flip the script? To go from feeling ignored to feeling valued and wanted? Then stick around, because what you're about to learn will transform not only how others see you, but how you see yourself. And the best part? It's not just about getting them to miss you, it's about reclaiming your confidence, building stoic relationships, and creating a life that's so fulfilling, they'll want to be part of it. Let's start with the first step, creating space for absence. 1. Create space for absence. Have you ever noticed how absence can make the smallest things feel larger? A quiet evening feels colder when someone important isn't there, and a single missed text can echo louder than 100 received ones. This universal truth isn't just a romantic idea, it's a fundamental aspect of human connection. When something becomes scarce, its value often grows. The same applies to relationships. If you want someone to miss you, the first step is deceptively simple yet profoundly powerful. Create space. But this isn't about playing games, it's about allowing emotions to naturally emerge in your absence. When we feel someone pulling away, the instinctive reaction is often to close the gap. You might send more messages, try to spend more time with them, or look for ways to remind them of your presence. On the surface, this seems logical. You care, and you don't want to lose the connection. But pause for a moment and consider, have these actions truly worked for you in the past? Or have they left you feeling even more desperate while the other person grew more distant? What happens when someone is too available? Often their presence becomes something you assume will always be there. It's a part of human nature to take for granted what feels abundant and ever-present. In Stoic relationships, one key principle is the idea of detachment, not in the sense of withdrawing love or care, but in releasing the constant need for validation from someone else. Detachment creates emotional clarity, both for you and for them. This is why space is so transformative. It allows you both to step back and truly assess what the relationship means. Space forces reflection. If someone truly values you, absence becomes a mirror. They begin to notice what your presence brought into their life, and suddenly, even the smallest moments with you carry more weight. If, on the other hand, your absence doesn't move them, it's an indication that their investment may never have been as deep as you imagined. And while this truth can be difficult to face, it's liberating. It frees you from the cycle of chasing someone who may never fully reciprocate your energy. Creating space doesn't mean ignoring or ghosting someone. It's not a cold withdrawal of affection. Rather, it's about setting boundaries that protect your time and energy while subtly signaling that your presence is not something to be taken lightly. For example, instead of immediately answering every text, take a breath. Respond thoughtfully, but not instantly. Instead of always being available to meet, express that you have other priorities, but you'd love to connect when the timing works for both of you. These small shifts may seem insignificant, but they communicate something powerful. Your life is full and rich, and your time is a gift, not an expectation. To implement this, reflect on your current patterns. Are you the one who always initiates contact? Do you find yourself trying to overcompensate when you sense someone pulling away? What if instead you did the opposite, not to manipulate but to allow space for genuine connection to resurface? Imagine being less reactive and more intentional, not out of fear or insecurity, but from a place of self-assurance. How does that shift feel to you? There's a profound confidence in stepping back. It requires trust, both in yourself and in the natural flow of the relationship. If you step back and they notice your absence, it creates curiosity and, eventually, longing. They begin to wonder, why haven't you reached out? Are you okay? Have you moved on? That slight uncertainty on their part draws their attention back to you without you needing to force it. One of the greatest lessons in Stoicism is learning to find fulfillment within yourself rather than seeking it externally. When you create space in a relationship, you're practicing this principle. It's not about creating distance for its own sake, but about building a sense of emotional independence. You are signaling, both to yourself and to the other person, that your happiness does not depend entirely on their actions or presence. Ask yourself this: what would happen if you stopped chasing? If you stopped reaching for someone who may not even realize they've drifted? By stepping back, you're not abandoning the relationship. You're giving it the room to breathe, to find its balance. You're offering the other person an opportunity to take a step toward you. And while you wait, you're not waiting idly. You're focusing on your own growth, your passions, your well-being. Because the space you create isn't just for them, it's for you too. It's a declaration that your time and energy are valuable, and that anyone who wants to be in your life should recognize and appreciate that. In creating space, you're not just making someone miss you, you're rediscovering your own sense of worth and dignity. That's where the true transformation begins. 2. Focus on yourself. When was the last time you truly focused on yourself? Not for anyone else, not to impress someone, but simply to rediscover the things that make you you. It's easy to lose ourselves in relationships, especially when we care deeply about someone. We pour so much of our time and energy into keeping the connection alive that we forget one essential truth. People are naturally drawn to those who are passionate about their own lives. If you want someone to miss you, one of the most impactful things you can do is shift your focus inward and invest in your own growth. Think about it. What makes a person magnetic? It's rarely about how much they chase others or how often they're available. Instead, we're captivated by people who seem to be thriving, pursuing their goals, and living a life filled with purpose. In Stoicism, this aligns with the idea that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from external sources. When you embrace this mindset, you become a stronger, more confident version of yourself, and that's when others can't help but notice. The key here is to stop centering your world around someone else and start centering it around your own development. What are the things you've always wanted to do but kept putting off? Is it learning a new skill, starting a fitness journey, exploring a creative hobby, or working toward a career milestone? Whatever it is, now is the time to channel your energy into those pursuits. Not only will this make you feel more fulfilled, but it will also send a clear signal to others. You are someone who values and invests in yourself. Here's the beauty of this approach. It's not about showing off or proving a point. It's about genuine self-improvement. But naturally, when you start thriving, it becomes visible to those around you. Imagine this scenario. Instead of constantly reaching out to someone who's been distant, you start focusing on building a life you love. Maybe they scroll through social media and see you crushing it at a new hobby, spending time with friends, or radiating confidence in a recent photo. That moment sparks something in their mind, a realization that you're doing just fine without them. And suddenly they're curious about you in a way they haven't been before. This isn't about playing games or creating jealousy. It's about being authentic and unapologetically living your best life. When you focus on yourself, you naturally create a ripple effect in the dynamics of any relationship. The other person starts to realize what they're missing, not because you're actively trying to make them feel that way, but because they see the glow of your self-confidence and independence. If you're wondering how to start, take small steps. Reflect on what genuinely excites and inspires you. What's something you've been neglecting because you've been too focused on someone else? Maybe it's signing up for a class, exploring a new workout routine, or diving into a passion project. Whatever it is, commit to it fully. You'll find that as you pour energy into yourself, you'll feel stronger, more capable, and more at peace. Here's something to remember. People are drawn to mystery and intrigue. When you're busy living a life that fulfills you, you naturally create an air of independence and self-assurance that's incredibly attractive. They'll begin to wonder what you're up to, what's making you so happy, and why you're no longer as focused on them. This curiosity plants the seed for them to start missing you, but it happens naturally and authentically. At this point, you might be thinking, but isn't this just a way of trying to manipulate someone into noticing me? It's not. The core of this approach is about becoming the best version of yourself for you. If someone notices and starts to chase you as a result, that's a byproduct, not the goal. The goal is to reclaim your confidence and find joy in your own journey. That's what Stoicism teaches us, to find fulfillment in our own efforts and not in the reactions of others. Now, if this idea resonates with you, I have a quick favor to ask. Show your support by hitting that like button and leaving a comment below. Just type number 1 if you're enjoying this video so far. And if you want more insights like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to stay connected and continue growing together. When you shift the focus to yourself, something magical happens. You're no longer chasing anyone, you're chasing your own potential. And in doing so, you not only elevate your own life, but you naturally draw others toward you. People are drawn to energy, to passion, to someone who's thriving. So the question is, what's stopping you from being that person? It's time to take the first step. You deserve to be someone who inspires others, but more importantly, you deserve to inspire yourself. 3. Limit communication strategically. Think about how often we equate connection with constant communication. In today's world where a message can be sent in seconds, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that maintaining a strong bond means replying immediately, staying in touch frequently, or being constantly available. But here's a paradox. Sometimes the more accessible you are, the less people appreciate your presence. When you want someone to miss you, your approach to communication matters greatly. If you're always the first to reach out, quick to respond, or consistently initiating conversations, it can unintentionally send a message that your time, attention, and energy are readily available. While there's nothing inherently wrong with being responsive or eager, overdoing it can create a sense of predictability. And predictability in this case doesn't inspire longing, it breeds complacency. So how do you strike the balance? By limiting communication in a way that's thoughtful, not dismissive. This doesn't mean playing mind games or ignoring someone to make a point. It's about communicating with purpose, letting your responses carry weight, and creating a subtle sense of anticipation. Let's explore how this works. Imagine you're messaging someone you care about. They text you, and your instinct is to reply immediately. You may even feel compelled to send a long, detailed response to show that you're engaged and interested. While there's value in being genuine, consider this. When every response comes instantaneously, it removes the element of intrigue. There's no time for the other person to wonder, what are they up to? Why haven't they replied yet? Could they be busy, or are they intentionally waiting? That pause, those moments of curiosity, are powerful. They create space for the other person to miss your presence. By holding back slightly, you're giving them time to reflect on the conversation and, more importantly, on you. The idea isn't to withhold communication as a form of punishment or to play hard to get. It's about being mindful of your availability. When you limit communication, you're subtly saying, I have a life outside of this connection. That in turn signals confidence, independence, and self-respect, all qualities that naturally draw others closer. This approach aligns beautifully with Stoicism. One of Stoicism's key teachings is that we should focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. You can't control how often someone thinks of you or whether they'll miss you, but you can control how much energy you pour into the dynamic. By limiting communication, you're practicing detachment, not as a way to distance yourself emotionally, but to protect your inner peace and well-being. When you take a step back, it also allows the other person to step forward. In relationships, a natural give and take dynamic is essential. If you're always the one reaching out, You're not giving them the opportunity to miss you or to initiate contact themselves. By holding back slightly, you create room for them to wonder about you, to notice your absence, and to realize the value you bring to their life. But how do you limit communication in practice? Here are some practical steps to consider. Delay your responses occasionally. If someone texts you, don't always reply instantly. Take a moment, finish what you're doing, and then respond when it feels natural. This shows that you're not glued to your phone or prioritizing their message over everything else in your life. Be concise in your replies. Instead of writing lengthy messages, keep your responses thoughtful but brief. This leaves room for curiosity and encourages them to engage further if they want to keep the conversation going. Resist the urge to double text. If they don't reply right away, avoid sending follow-up messages. Trust that if they value the connection, they'll respond when they're able to. Set boundaries around communication. For example, if you're busy during certain times of the day, let them know. This reinforces that you have commitments and priorities, which makes your availability feel more meaningful. The beauty of limiting communication is that it often works on two levels. First, it subtly shifts the dynamic, prompting the other person to pay more attention to you. Second, it gives you a chance to refocus on your own life, rather than being consumed by the need for constant interaction. This balance creates a healthier and more fulfilling relationship dynamic, whether you're trying to rekindle a connection or strengthen an existing one. Think about this. When someone takes a moment to reflect on why they're not hearing from you as much, they're subconsciously acknowledging your importance in their life. They begin to appreciate the energy and presence you bring, precisely because it's not something they can take for granted. And when they do reach out, it's often with greater intention and sincerity. Limiting communication isn't about manipulation or withdrawal. It's about valuing your time and ensuring that the effort in any relationship is mutual. By creating just enough space, you allow the relationship to breathe, grow, and thrive. And as Stoicism reminds us, the healthiest relationships are those built on mutual respect, independence, and genuine connection, not on constant availability or overextension. 4. Showcase your best self subtly. Picture this: you're scrolling through your feed and you see someone you know absolutely thriving. They're beaming in photos, achieving goals, or simply exuding confidence. You pause, intrigued. You start to wonder, what changed? What's lighting them up? That curiosity, that magnetic pull, is exactly what happens when you subtly showcase your best self. But here's the key. It's not about showing off or trying to make someone jealous. It's about living authentically and letting your natural growth speak for itself. When we focus on others too much, whether by chasing their attention or hoping they'll notice us, it's easy to lose sight of our own journey. But the moment you redirect that focus inward, something shifts. You reclaim your energy and begin to thrive. And when you thrive, you become impossible to ignore. In Stoicism, there's a timeless principle. Focus on what you can control. And what you can control is your effort, your growth, and your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. Think about what truly lights you up. Maybe it's a hobby you've neglected, a fitness goal you've been putting off, or a creative project you've always dreamed of pursuing. Whatever it is, dive in fully, not because you want to impress someone, but because it makes you feel alive. When you engage in something you're passionate about, it shows. It changes your energy. And that energy is what people notice, even from a distance. Here's the secret. You don't need to announce every step of your growth to the world. You don't need to flood your social media or make it obvious that you're trying to get someone's attention. Subtlety is your best friend. Share genuine moments, a photo of a hike you conquered, a milestone you achieved, or even a small, quiet reflection about how far you've come. These glimpses into your life send a powerful message. You're living with purpose and joy, regardless of who's watching. What makes this approach so effective is its authenticity. You're not pretending to be someone you're not or putting on a performance for someone else's benefit. Instead, you're embracing the things that make you uniquely you, and you're letting that authenticity shine. That's where the real magic happens. People are drawn to those who are genuinely confident, passionate, and content in their own skin. When someone sees you thriving, it often sparks a mix of curiosity and admiration. They might wonder why they're not part of these joyful moments or what changed to make you so vibrant. This shift in perspective can make them realize the value you bring to their life, and it happens naturally without you having to force it. The beauty of showcasing your best self is that it's a win-win. Not only does it create intrigue and appreciation in others, but it also strengthens your own sense of self-worth. You're no longer waiting for someone else to validate you. You're finding fulfillment in your own growth. And as you grow, you naturally attract people who align with your energy. If you're wondering how to approach this without overdoing it, remember this: less is more. Share a moment here and there, but let your actions and your energy do most of the talking. Authenticity is far more powerful than trying to prove something. As you step into this process, keep in mind one of the core lessons of Stoicism. You don't control how others perceive you, but you do control how you live. By focusing on your own growth, you're not only building a life that fulfills you, but you're also setting a standard for how you deserve to be treated. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Show your support by hitting that like button and dropping a number 1 in the comments if you're ready to focus on your own growth. And if you're enjoying this journey of building meaningful, stoic relationships, make sure to subscribe for more. The path to becoming your best self isn't about chasing anyone or trying to prove your worth. It's about stepping into your power, owning your journey, and letting that naturally draw the right people into your life. You're not just living, you're thriving. And when you thrive, you don't need to chase. You become the one worth chasing. 5. Build mystery. How often do we feel the urge to lay all our cards on the table, hoping that transparency will win someone over? We think that if they just knew how much we cared or how deeply we felt, they'd reciprocate instantly. But here's a paradox of human connection. It's often the things we don't say, the parts of ourselves we hold back, that create intrigue and leave people wanting more. Mystery is not about being secretive or manipulative. It's about allowing space for curiosity to grow. It's about understanding that leaving some parts of yourself unrevealed invites others to invest emotionally in getting to know you. When we reveal everything at once, we remove the excitement of discovery, the anticipation that keeps people engaged and longing for more. Consider this. When was the last time someone surprised you in a way that made you want to learn more about them? Maybe it was an unexpected insight they shared, a hobby you didn't know they had, or the way they carried themselves with quiet confidence. That intrigue is powerful, and it's something you can cultivate in your own life. Mystery starts with being intentional about what you share and when you share it. When you meet someone, whether it's a new connection or someone you've known for a while, resist the urge to overshare. Instead, focus on revealing parts of yourself gradually in a way that feels natural and meaningful. For example, if they ask about your weekend, don't feel the need to give a play-by-play of every moment. Share one highlight, but leave some details unsaid. This subtle choice can spark curiosity and encourage them to dig deeper. Another way to build mystery is through unpredictability. Routine can be comforting, but it can also make you predictable in ways that dull the excitement of a relationship. If you're always available at the same time or always respond in the same way, you become an open book. While there's value in consistency, it's equally important to keep people guessing, just enough to keep things interesting. Change up your routine, try new activities, or respond in ways that challenge their expectations. In Stoicism, there's a strong emphasis on self-mastery and inner strength. A mysterious person often exudes these qualities because they don't feel the need to constantly seek approval or validation. They are comfortable with who they are and don't rely on external recognition to define their worth. When you embrace this mindset, your actions and words naturally carry more weight. You become someone others want to figure out, not because you're withholding, but because you radiate quiet confidence and depth. Mystery also extends to how you live your life. If you're constantly broadcasting every thought, feeling, or event to the world, there's little left for others to discover. Instead, let your actions speak for you. Focus on building a life that's rich and fulfilling, and let others notice the energy you bring to the room, the way you carry yourself, or the accomplishments you quietly achieve. This doesn't mean you need to be a closed book or play games with people. Building mystery is about balance. Share enough to be open and relatable, but hold back just enough to let others wonder. That wondering is where the magic happens. It creates a pull, a desire to connect on a deeper level. One of the most underrated ways to build mystery is by listening more than you speak. When you ask thoughtful questions and genuinely engage with others, you create an atmosphere where they feel seen and valued. At the same time, you're not revealing everything about yourself, which makes them more eager to learn about you in return. This dynamic fosters a connection built on curiosity and mutual respect. Mystery isn't about trickery or creating distance. It's about protecting your inner world and inviting others to explore it thoughtfully. When you hold back slightly, you give people a reason to lean in. You create a dynamic where they're not just passively observing you, they're actively engaging, trying to understand what makes you unique. In relationships, mystery can be the spark that keeps the fire burning. It's what makes someone think about you when you're not around, replaying conversations in their mind, or wondering what you'll say or do next. And the beauty of this approach is that it's entirely within your control. You don't need to change who you are. You just need to be mindful of how you share yourself with the world. Building mystery isn't about withholding for the sake of power. It's about cultivating a life and a presence that invite others to keep discovering little by little. It's about creating space for curiosity, anticipation, and connection to thrive. And in doing so, you allow relationships to deepen naturally, based on genuine intrigue and mutual respect. 6. Be warm but not overbearing. Let's be honest, there's a fine line between showing care and coming across as overly clingy or desperate. It's natural to want to express your affection and interest, but when those gestures feel excessive or one-sided, they can push people away rather than draw them closer. The secret to making someone miss you lies in mastering the balance of warmth and independence, showing them you care without overwhelming them with constant attention. Imagine someone who radiates warmth when they're with you, someone who listens attentively, shares genuine laughter, and makes you feel valued. Now imagine that same person calling, texting, or showing up too often, even when you need space. The warmth that initially drew you in begins to feel stifling. This is what happens when good intentions cross into overbearing behavior. It's not about the quantity of interactions, it's about the quality. To make someone miss you, it's essential to show warmth in meaningful ways while also maintaining your sense of independence. This doesn't mean playing cold or distant. It's about showing care when it counts while giving them space to appreciate it. Start by asking yourself this: what does your presence bring to their life? Is it positivity, calmness, or inspiration? Whatever it is, focus on amplifying those qualities. Be someone whose energy leaves a lasting impression. When you're with them, be fully present. Put your phone away, make eye contact, and truly listen. These small acts of mindfulness create moments that linger in their mind long after you're gone. But here's the key: don't overdo it. Avoid the temptation to follow up every kind gesture with more. If you've sent a thoughtful message or shared a meaningful moment, let it stand on its own. Resist the urge to immediately double down or check for a reaction. By doing so, you create space for them to reflect on the value of your presence. This approach is deeply rooted in Stoicism. One of Stoicism's core principles is emotional balance, the ability to care deeply without losing your sense of self. You're not clinging to their attention or approval. You're simply offering the best version of yourself and trusting that it will resonate. When you embody this principle, you project confidence and security, which are incredibly attractive qualities. Being warm but not overbearing also means setting boundaries with kindness. For example, if they want to spend time together, but you already have plans or need a moment for yourself, it's okay to say, "I'd love to see you, but I can't today. Let's plan something soon." This response is warm, but it also shows that you have a full life outside of the relationship. That balance of availability and independence is what makes someone truly miss your presence. Another way to achieve this balance is through meaningful gestures. Instead of bombarding them with daily check-ins or endless texts, Think about moments that hold significance. Maybe it's a thoughtful compliment during a conversation or remembering something important they mentioned. These subtle actions show that you're paying attention and care without overwhelming them with constant communication. And here's an important reminder: not everyone will respond the same way to warmth. Some people need more space than others, and that's okay. Pay attention to their cues and adjust accordingly. This flexibility shows emotional intelligence and respect, which deepens your connection while also leaving room for them to miss you. When you combine warmth with independence, you create a dynamic that's hard to resist. They'll remember the way you made them feel, the thoughtful gestures, and the positivity you brought into their life. At the same time, they'll notice when you're not around, because your presence is a gift, not an expectation. If this resonates with you, and you're ready to master the art of being warm but not overbearing, let me know by hitting the like button. And if you're loving the insights in this video, leave a comment below with number 1. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips on building stoic relationships and creating meaningful connections. Together, we're redefining what it means to thrive in relationships while staying true to ourselves. Ultimately, the balance between warmth and independence isn't just about making someone miss you. It's about creating a relationship dynamic that feels healthy and fulfilling for both of you. It's about respecting their space in your own and letting the connection grow naturally without unnecessary pressure. When you get this right, you're not just chasing someone's attention, you're inviting them into a relationship that feels genuine, balanced, and deeply rewarding. That's the kind of connection that truly stands the test of time. 7. Let go of neediness. There's a quiet strength in letting go of expectations, of outcomes, and especially of neediness. It's a quality that not only makes you feel more centered, but also naturally draws others toward you. Neediness, on the other hand, can create the opposite effect. When someone senses that your happiness or sense of self depends on their attention, it often leads to emotional distance. Letting go of neediness is not about caring less. It's about recognizing your own value and trusting that meaningful connections will grow without forcing them. Neediness stems from a fear of loss. It's that constant urge to check if someone has replied to your message, the anxiety over their perceived lack of interest, or the impulse to overcompensate by showering them with attention. But when you operate from a place of fear, you unintentionally push people away. Why? Because it places pressure on the relationship. It shifts the dynamic from mutual enjoyment to obligation, and no one thrives under that weight. Stoicism offers a powerful perspective here. True contentment comes from within, not from external validation. When you depend on someone else to make you feel whole, you're giving them control over your emotional state. Letting go of neediness means reclaiming that control. It's about understanding that your worth isn't tied to how someone responds to you. You are already complete with or without their approval. But how do you break free from the cycle of neediness? It starts with shifting your focus inward. Ask yourself, what brings me joy outside of this relationship? What goals, passions, or activities can I invest my time in? When you redirect your energy toward your own growth, you become less reliant on others for fulfillment. This doesn't mean shutting people out. It means approaching relationships from a place of abundance rather than lack. One of the most effective ways to let go of neediness is by practicing detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It's the ability to care deeply while remaining emotionally grounded. For example, instead of anxiously waiting for a text or call, trust that if the connection is meaningful, it will naturally flow. In the meantime, focus on what's within your control, your actions, your mindset, and your own happiness. Think about the people in your life who seem effortlessly confident. They're not constantly seeking reassurance or validation. Instead, they project a quiet assurance that they're comfortable in their own skin. That energy is magnetic. It signals to others that being around them is a choice, not a necessity. This is the essence of letting go of neediness, embracing your independence while leaving space for genuine connection to grow. Letting go also involves breaking free from overthinking. It's easy to get caught in a loop of analyzing every interaction, what they said, how they said it, and what it might mean. But overthinking pulls you out of the present moment and into a spiral of worry. Instead, remind yourself that not everything needs to be dissected. Trust the process and focus on enjoying the connection for what it is, rather than what you hope it will become. Another important aspect of releasing neediness is setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. For instance, if you notice that you're tempted to send multiple texts when someone hasn't replied, pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that patience is a sign of confidence. Similarly, if you find yourself obsessing over their actions or words, redirect your thoughts towards something constructive, like a goal you're working on or an activity you love. When you let go of neediness, something remarkable happens. The dynamic in your relationships shifts. People begin to sense your self-assurance and independence, and they're naturally drawn to it. Instead of feeling pressured or overwhelmed, they feel free to engage with you in a way that's genuine and mutually fulfilling. This is especially true in Stoic relationships, where balance and emotional resilience create a foundation of trust and respect. Releasing neediness doesn't mean you stop caring about the people in your life. On the contrary, it allows you to care more authentically without the weight of insecurity or fear. It's a declaration that your happiness is your responsibility and that you're willing to share your energy with others without demanding anything in return. This mindset not only makes you feel more empowered, but also creates deeper, healthier connections. Ultimately, letting go of neediness is a gift to both yourself and those around you. It's a practice in self-respect, emotional strength, and inner peace. By embracing this approach, you free yourself from the constant chase for approval and open the door to relationships that are built on mutual appreciation and genuine connection. And when you operate from that place of confidence and detachment, you're no longer trying to make someone miss you. They'll miss you naturally, because they'll see the value of your presence. 8. Be genuinely happy without them. Happiness is magnetic. Think about the people in your life who radiate joy and contentment. They're not happy because of someone else, they're happy because they've built a life they love. Their energy draws people in effortlessly, and it's not forced, it's genuine. If you want someone to miss you, one of the most powerful things you can do is become genuinely happy without them. But here's the key. This happiness has to come from within, not as a strategy to get their attention. Many people fall into the trap of thinking, if they were here, I'd feel complete, or I can't really be happy until they notice me. But this mindset puts your well-being in someone else's hands. True fulfillment starts when you let go of the idea that another person is the missing piece to your happiness. Instead, it's about creating a life so fulfilling and joyful that you feel complete on your own. And ironically, when you do this, people can't help but notice. Start by asking yourself a simple but powerful question. What makes me truly happy? Is it a creative hobby, spending time in nature, deepening your friendships, or pursuing a personal goal? Whatever it is, lean into those things. When you fill your life with activities, experiences, and people that uplift you, you naturally exude confidence and positivity. Happiness isn't something you can fake. If your goal is to post a picture-perfect version of your life just to make someone jealous, it will ring hollow. Genuine happiness comes from embracing the things that bring you joy, regardless of who's watching. It's about waking up excited for the day ahead because you're living in alignment with your values and passions. In Stoicism, happiness is seen as a byproduct of living a virtuous life. This means focusing on what you can control, acting with integrity, and finding contentment in your own efforts rather than external rewards. When you embrace this mindset, you stop seeking validation from others. Your happiness becomes a reflection of your inner strength, not a reaction to someone else's behavior. When you're genuinely happy, people notice. They see the way you carry yourself, the lightness in your energy, and the calm confidence that comes from within. They might not be able to pinpoint what's changed, but they'll feel it. This creates a powerful dynamic. Instead of you chasing someone's attention, they start to wonder what's making you so fulfilled and why they're not part of it. Being happy without someone doesn't mean shutting them out or pretending they don't matter. It simply means you're no longer placing your happiness in their hands. You're showing them and yourself that your life is full and meaningful, regardless of their involvement. This shift in energy is often what makes someone miss you, not because they feel left out, but because they're drawn to your confidence and independence. To embrace this mindset, focus on small, tangible actions. Take up a new hobby you've always wanted to try. Spend more time with people who uplift you. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may seem. And most importantly, learn to enjoy your own company. When you're at peace with yourself, you stop looking outward for happiness, and that's when the magic happens. One of the most beautiful things about being genuinely happy is that it creates a ripple effect. Your positivity inspires others, including the person you want to miss you. They see your growth, your joy, and your ability to thrive, and it makes them reflect on the value you bring to their life. But the best part, even if they don't notice or respond, you're still thriving. Your happiness isn't dependent on their reaction. It's rooted in your own journey. If this resonates with you, and you're ready to focus on building a life that brings you joy and fulfillment, let me know by hitting the like button. Drop a number 1 in the comments if this perspective has inspired you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights on building stoic relationships and creating a life you love. At the end of the day, being genuinely happy without someone isn't about pretending they don't matter. It's about showing yourself and the world that your joy comes from within. When you embody this mindset, you become someone worth missing, not because you're trying to be, but because your happiness speaks for itself. And when you live this way, you're not just creating a life that's fulfilling, you're setting the foundation for relationships that are meaningful, balanced, and truly aligned with your best self. Making someone miss you isn't about manipulation, mind games, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about stepping into your power, focusing on your growth, and creating an authentic life that radiates confidence and fulfillment. When you embrace the steps we've explored, creating space, focusing on yourself, limiting communication, showcasing your best self, building mystery, balancing warmth, letting go of neediness, and finding genuine happiness, you're not just changing how someone sees you, you're changing how you see yourself. The beauty of this approach is that it works on every level. You stop chasing approval or attention, and instead you start living a life that feels meaningful and aligned with your values. In doing so, you naturally shift the dynamics of your relationships. People begin to notice your presence, appreciate your energy, and miss you when you're not there, not because you're forcing it, but because you force someone worth missing. The principles of Stoicism remind us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. You can't control how someone feels about you, but you can control how you show up for yourself. By living authentically, practicing detachment, and finding fulfillment within, you create a magnetic energy that others can't help but gravitate toward. So as you move forward, I encourage you to take these steps not for someone else, but for yourself. Build the life you've always wanted. Pursue the passions and goals that light you up. Cultivate relationships that are built on mutual respect and authenticity. And trust that the right people will see your worth, because it's impossible to ignore someone who is truly thriving. If this message has resonated with you and you're ready to apply these steps to your own life, start today. Let the changes begin, not because you're trying to get someone to miss you, but because you deserve to live a life filled with joy, growth, and confidence. Thank you for being here, for watching, and for investing in your own growth. If this content has inspired you, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so we can continue this journey together. Remember, you are not defined by how others perceive you. You are defined by the person you choose to become. Wishing you strength, peace, and the fulfillment that comes with living your truth.